Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sorting Hat Podcast, the show where things are sorted into the houses of Hogwarts. I, as always, am your host, Michael Barryte, joined by my co-host, Brice.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
I knew there was going to be something that wasn't Happy New Year,
Why would you say Happy New Year's, idiot?
You're right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So the basic conceit of the show is that...
Oh, because we're putting this out around New Year's.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, cool. I'm on it.
Basic conceit of the show is that we're sorting things, not people, into the various houses of Hogwarts for...
I can't believe you let me count the whole thing.
Sometimes I just see the look in your eye, and the look in your eye is if I tried to steamroll through the bit, I would be killed. So...
I would have you murdered for not letting me count down from 10.
I just wouldn't be able to beat the bit.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Can't be my biz, baby.
No, not at all. So... we're sorting things into the various houses of Hogwarts. I am a Ravenclaw. Reed is a Hufflepuff. Yeah. Today, we are sorting the 10 most common New Year's resolutions.
God knows everybody's going to be like jonesing for like a clean slate. Last year sucked, man.
Yeah, and the year before that sucked. And
then the year before that kind of also shitty.
Yeah, 2016 wasn't great either.
2019 though, baby. This
2019,
is the year.
It all turns around. And I mean, by the time that this goes out, we might cheat on what we already said, which was like, oh, we're going to be doing it every 2 weeks just for the sake of it being more timely. Yeah. We might put it out early. But like, in either case, 2019 has been going on for a little bit. How's it been, everyone? Has it been garbage?
Wow. Yeah. Oh, cool. You did that vacation?
Oh, wow. That sounds great.
I think you should have dumped in a long time ago.
But yeah, so we're going to be going through now. Do you want to start from the bottom to the top, Read, or top to bottom?
All right, let's go to the bottom. Let's see what nobody fucking does.
All right. So we're just diving straight into it.
I was like collect more Pokemon cards.
Do you have a guess as to what you think it might be? Because I know what it is, as I have the list in front of me.
Floss?
We were discussing before the pod started about whether or not we were going to be doing 10 or 15 because there was a Reader's Digest or this Go
and
Skills
I was like,
one.
5 more things. I can barely handle like one thing.
But had you said the Reader's Digest list, number 15 was Flossmore. So,
well, there we go. Everybody is as gross as I am and can admit it.
Which I recently went to my dentist and they were like, you genetically must have great teeth because you say you don't floss that well, but you've never had a cavity.
Ooh, this is making me think Reed shitty conspiracy corner's coming back because everybody gets told that they don't floss enough. Everybody.
My brother doesn't get told that, and my brother does floss all the time.
Well, fuck.
I know,
mind,
right?
Conspiracy, but that was the shortest lived conspiracy I've ever had.
But flossing more is not the bottom of this list that I am looking at.
It's a Ravenclaw move.
Well, sure.
It's just all about like get better care of like your gums.
With you. But that was a bonus one because it's not at the bottom of this list.
All right. Well, what is our 10?
The bottom of this, the 10 is read more.
Also some nerd shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nerd shit. It's one that every year I say, I need to read more.
It's gotten to the point that if you read one book, people are like, oh, a reader?
Somebody posted on Reddit, I want to say, that they're like, here's the shelf of all the books I read this year. And it is like
that's just a power move.
Shelf of books, like 4 solid shelves of books.
No, that's just like showing off. We get it. You got more brain cells than we do.
But there are those handful of people who they read a ton. Although I will say last year in 2018, I was very proud of myself because I had, what did I have? I had a plane ride for Thanksgiving. I was going to be traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And so I went to the library. I got a Miss Marple book, Agatha Christie, because growing up, I really loved reading mystery books. And I was like, if something's going to get me back into reading, it would be like a well-constructed mystery book. And I remember I had read And Then There Were None years ago, like in a single sitting. And I was like, I gotta relight that fire. Now, granted, And Then There Were None is like one of the best mystery books out there. So it wasn't going to like necessarily compare completely with A Murder at the Vicarage, which is the one that I read. But it held me. I read it in the span of 3 days, and I was like, I read a book, and I threw it down and then
into the fireplace, like on that Simpsons clip that they always go to.
And then I was like, oh shit, I need to return that to the library.
My book that I would say I read So You've Been Publicly Shamed by either John Ronson or Ron Johnson. I can never remember what. I feel so bad because I very much like the author. It was by the guy who made The Men Who Stare at Goats and also the Psychopath Test and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's Ron Johnson. It has to be.
Sure, why not?
Okay. I'm so sorry, Mr. Ronson. Yeah, and it's all about how mob mentality has gone from like the public sphere with like putting people in stocks and throwing tomatoes at them to like online shaming, and how even if the person really, really deserves to be canceled, the psychological effects that can have on the individual trying to like then just operate in society.
Sure.
And also how to be like, how can I minimize the damage that I'm doing to contributing to the problem that is like overwhelming the media right now of like just being upset before you think things through.
Right. And with it being a 24-hour news cycle where everybody just needs to be riding the rage train, as it were.
Yeah, with that in mind, I definitely say read this book if you're like, all of this stresses me out so much, what can I do? Because even though it's like account after account after account, he writes in a way that keeps you feeling light and hopeful, and you don't read the book, you don't leave the book going, oh god, I hope that doesn't happen to me yet. And then it did later in the year, by the way. Remember when those people got mad at me about Sesame Street? I got doxxed this last year. Don't worry about it. I didn't tell you about Sesame Street?
I mean,
the Bert and Ernie thing.
Well, no, I know that you tweeted at Frank Oz and got retweeted to all hell, but I
don't want to bring this up. What if they're listening?
Okay.
Whatever. Like a bunch of trolls just like yelled at me so intensely that I just like cause I'd read the book, I knew what to do. I had to be like, you can't engage. So I just locked down my accounts for like a week or so, and then I came back and it was fine. And by the way, the thing that I got canceled for was telling Frank Oz, who invented Bert and Ernie, that they should be allowed to be gay if that's what the other creator of Sesame Street said. There was another dude who helped develop those characters, and he said he based them on his boyfriend and his relationship. So that's all I said to the dude, and everybody who can't wait to make America again got right up in the DMs.
You're talking on people's childhoods. But I don't think there was anybody alive who didn't think Bert and Ernie were gay. That was just like the thing that was like the joke about them. Yeah, I mean, they're men in their 30s, even if they're monsters who live alone in a very they're not monsters. They're just like straight Muppet people. Not straight Muppet people, but like
they are queer at the very least.
Okay, sure, but they're like they're neutral Muppets.
I didn't realize there were neutral Muppets.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, because like Polly, what is her name? Polly
Amorous.
No, Pollyann, I think. God damn it. No, they're like Schroeder is like a humanoid Muppet. Like he's not a
monster.
No. Cookie Monster is a monster, but like Bert and Ernie, they look like.
I thought Monster was a terrible last name.
Although actually, I do believe that Grover is technically Grover Monster, as Telly is Telly Monster. Like it's
Are they all in the same family by that?
I think it's like a genus thing.
You know what? This is funny because the first episode of, or the thing that made us start talking about the Sorting Hat was also Sesame Street.
It was.
We're way too obsessed with this show. It's creepy.
Oh no, I legit growing up when I was like, I want to say 16, there was like a hardcover book on like, I forget what it was called, but I know the cover of it is like a street side and like a manhole cover with Sesame Street on it and like a feather, I think, of Big Bird's. And it's like, it basically is like a very, very detailed look on like how Sesame Street was like built and constructed.
So you've been a Sesame Street nerd.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
No, I love the Muppets and puppetry and like all of that.
And you know what they gave you a love for? Reading.
Yeah, yes. You brought it back, which I'm impressed by.
Well, that's usually your job. That hurt my brain to do it.
Maybe your New Year's resolution this year is to keep me on track.
Like over and over again, the whole thing. Like, Reed, what were you even fucking talking about at one point?
Who knows? But reading more that's Ravenclaw's help.
Yeah, I said at the top.
So moving up.
Yeah, number 9?
Number 9. Number 9 is to travel more.
I think everybody is kind of like, I gotta get out of here, like wherever they are.
Yeah.
There's just at least once a year, you're like,
However, the thing I think that hangs people up so much,
unless you're a homebody.
Sure, but I say you can still be a homebody abroad, and there's something to be had there. Like, you can homebody up in a hotel, as it were, but you're able to like soak in a different scene. But I think so frequently, and I get caught up with this myself, but this going into this year, right now we've actually touched on 2 of the things that I'm really trying to do.
Gotcha.
In travel more, but in a smaller capacity. So being comfortable just saying like, oh, I'm going to go to like San Diego, which is a 3-hour drive from Los Angeles, but it's still like a different location and there's stuff outside of.
Yeah, and not feel like you have to come up with like some exotic locale to go to.
Although I do low-key want to be going to Peru this year.
Okay, we're going to keep an eye on that.
I want to experience Machu Picchu.
Yeah, usually like it comes down to
It's a 4-day backpacking hike, Reed.
I really hope that you end up eating some like plant that gives you like a vision quest or something.
I mean, that's
like those retreats that they take like
ayahuasca or whatever.
Yeah, where they have you drink it and you just like trip out. That would either like make your life like incredibly clear or it would ruin
mushroom psychedelics would be like the one more out there drug that I would be receptive to doing. And I've had this conversation with like a handful of friends where I'm like, if we were like all like, okay, we're gonna do this, like, all right.
Go ahead and make a cut point here. We're not going to talk about Michael committing a felony on the podcast. It's still very illegal outside of California.
Oh, okay. I mean, to talk about being comfortable with it isn't. I don't think it's that big of an
but
issue.
you can think about it at least. And so like, yeah, you would get away, just see things that are completely different, but that can happen in San Diego just as easily.
Yeah, that can happen.
I recently went to like Monterey for the first time and blew my damn mind.
Right, like
which is just a few hours north.
It's honestly like even as much as driving like 2 towns over, you suddenly realize like, oh, the culture is different here.
People say the word for soda wrong.
So that
they don't say Cokie.
I think that travel more is probably a Gryffindor.
Oh, for sure, because it's like literally being a fish out of water.
Yeah, it's letting yourself venture out beyond your comfort zone, out of your home.
Exactly.
And who knows what can happen. Moving on. Spend more time with family and friends. This is a Hufflepuff, but
oh, for sure, because that one's just like keep seeing my best friends. But that's our resolution.
But this one, in years past, and I of course always fell back on this, and I would designate a like once a month trying to like reach out to a friend who I hadn't seen in forever.
It's so nice.
And catching up, but the best friends are those friends who, when you sit down with them, even though it's been like 2 years in some cases,
it's like you never lost a step.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say that's like kind of how you and I are. We don't always see each other. Like for the most part, we see each other when we're recording this, but it's been a minute, man.
Yeah.
And almost every time we just fall back into it. And that's how you always know when you have like an actual like comfort with somebody. Yeah. I think. Like, yeah, because you can be friends with somebody, not necessarily even be like super comfortable with them for whatever reason.
Yeah, you just stay in that acquaint-a-friend zone.
Yeah. Do you think that you get to see your folks and your brother enough?
I do.
Yeah, because you're with them like just about every holiday, because like at least your parents are like pretty like close to you.
Yeah, my parents are about an hour's drive. My brother and I see one another through Google Hangout weekly to be discussing the
you do
obituary.
The work to keep those connections.
Yeah, and so that's good. What about you? I know family is more of a
blood family is kind of on the rocks. I haven't really talked to them,
but that's by choice. kind of.
It's the choice where like I would be allowing them to keep mistreating me if they
Right.
Yeah, because basically my family wasn't I'm transgender and people were not so kind about it in my family. They weren't mean about it, but they were just kind of like,
Right.
we're not going to acknowledge that this is happening, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I had to politely be like, until you can do that, we're not gonna see each other. And so with chosen family, though, that's like a term that the queer community uses a lot for like the people who will actually be there for you in a real way. I put you in that category.
What?
I put Mr. Billy Domino in that category.
What?
I'm so I have so many people, and I'm very lucky, especially for somebody who's queer, to know that I have like more than one person that I can be like, okay, who do I call if I need to cry?
Right.
And I'm an Aries baby, so I love to cry
God.
and fight.
Yes. And cry while fighting.
Dude, that's the most beautiful catharsis of all. You just go in for a swing, you end up hugging.
All right, so we're gonna
do it.
we're gonna move on to number 7.
Wait, where do we sort that one?
Hufflepuff. It's Hufflepuff.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I called Hufflepuff before we even talked about it. Quit smoking.
I think, just cigarettes or anything.
It just says quit smoking.
That almost always colloquially just means nicotine, and
right.
Yeah, and I think more and more I don't know, depending on what part of the world you're in, it might still be super common. I hardly ever see people smoke out here in California, just because culturally people are real rude about it if you do.
Sure.
And honestly, good for you if you have the willpower, and then just stick in there if you're still chugging along trying to get off the horse.
I think that quit smoking has a split as far as where it can be sorted, and that comes down to the means in which you quit.
Okay, go on.
If you quit cold turkey, I believe that is a Gryffindor. If you, however, do nicotine lozenges or gum or anything like that, where you're more reducing
vaping is Slytherin, just so we're clear.
Yeah,
specifically,
no doubt. Vape tricks. But if you're gradually descending off of the nicotine, I think that's a Ravenclaw.
Because I would probably agree with you, because a lot of it is there's so much to the physical withdrawal, and mostly if you want to make final changes, they have to be incremental in order to stick. It's the same thing with any other sort of if you're I want to either gain weight or lose weight,
right?
Or if you want to,
to cut cold turkey is physiologically brash, whereas to just I'm gonna descend and
if you do it though,
land.
If you're just nope, and you're the kind of personality that where you can just walk away from something that's bad for you, that's got my undying admiration, because I'm fucking terrible. I have no willpower. Yeah. Sweets and people I should not text back when they text me late at night.
That's one for me as far as dating goes. They're the rules of engagement with texting, which I hate.
I hate it. Why can't we just act okay, I tell the people that I go on dates, I kind of want to just feel like we are already buds, and then there's boning or whatever it is that is your deal. And I should not have to feel like I have to figure out the secret rules, or that we're playing a weird mind game that if you actually admit that you care and or about the person, that makes you weird. I'm not going to ask you to marry me after the second date, but I can tell you that right afterwards I should text you and be I had so much fun. I can't wait to see you again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very odd.
But I'm a romantic Aries, so I'm always falling in love.
Sure.
I do. I've been getting so many crushes, dude.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I get a crush on probably a new person once a month.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
Ooh, oh god, I did. Oh fuck, who was it? I do know I really have a big crush on Ben Kissel's voice. He does Abe Lincoln's Top Hat and Last Podcast on the Left.
Sure.
And he has a real gravelly dad voice that just activates something. I don't know. Man's got it.
Gotcha.
What about you? Who's your celeb crush?
I recently, when I saw Mary Poppins Returns,
Dick Van Dyke. Looking
no,
good in that CGI.
Emily Mortimer.
Oh, really?
I think she has the most likable face.
That's such a Michael Barryte way to compliment a woman too.
I would love having conversations with her just to see her smile.
Yeah.
Like that's like, and I was just like so caught off guard because I'm like, have I seen her in something? I feel like I've seen her in things. Like she just has a really striking face. I don't know.
See more family and friends. Is that where we were on?
No, we were on quit smoking.
What the fuck? How do we get to dating?
Because we were talking about rules of engagement with texting.
Oh, anyway,
yeah.
Yes.
To move on to number 6, either it is a save more money / spend less money.
Baby, capitalism's gonna crush us. Slytherin.
Okay.
World's ending in 12 years. Just buy what you want.
I mean, I was going to go with like being fiscally responsible is a very Ravenclaw sort of thing.
But I've brought it back to the true spirit of our show. Of me ruining it for you.
Fine, fair.
No, okay, yeah. What were your arguments?
Oh, my arguments are just like if you're looking to be pocketing and pennying sort of like I'm taking this percentage out of my paycheck and putting it to this, or starting to budget things, like you have to be looking at the hard numbers. I use a budgeting app, for example, and I'm also like, oh, every month I know like this much money is going out to like a retirement fund and this much money is
do that. Like if you have the means to have like to build yourself an emergency fund and then start like making sure you're just pocketing away some money all the time. Like, that's so good. But it also, don't be in a place if you're, like, in financial straits that you feel like you have to then reuse the dental floss every day because now you're flossing as your belt on your freaking pants because you have to save money.
And there are a lot of, I think, like, one of the easiest ways to, as far as, like, saving money goes, is look to your monthly costs in like a larger sense, not necessarily like, oh, just be like, okay, I'm going to designate, like, I know I have like a living cost always in rent. I know that that's a thing.
Yeah, you can just make a literal, like, just list all the things that cost you money, and that's your budget.
Cost you money, and then you can allocate a little bit, like, because I designate a separate. I have a groceries like list, and then I also have an eating out list, which are two separate.
If nothing
ones.
else, do it for a couple months and see that how much you're overspending on food. Now, I will tell you the actual good way to save some money.
Okay,
get yourself some cheddar. Rob a bank. That's the easiest way. They just have all the money there for you. You don't even have to fucking.
The Sorting Hat podcast does not support robbing banks.
Let's keep suggesting felonies this episode.
Oh man. Live life to the fullest. Number 5. Super vague and broad.
Yeah, like is that for everybody on the planet? Should like a nap be like, man, I got a day, I gotta make it count?
I think so. Like I think that is like
life at the fullest sounds like you're taking a dive, so that would be more of like a Gryffindor for me.
It does it is both a Gryffindor, but also could be construed through the lens of Slytherin.
I see. Yeah, like just like be like a shark, keep moving forward.
Right. Yeah. Like you're unapologetically just like slamming forward, and if there is collateral damage to like those around you who like, oh, you upturned my life, and it's like, fuck yeah.
If nothing, if you don't like it, because like living life to the fullest, like you said, that sounds so vague, so that can be overwhelming. I would go the opposite and just be like, at least just get some shit done that you got to do every day, even if you only accomplish one thing. That's better than nothing, and you can do better the next day. Like have optimism rather than feel like you have to have some like abstract.
I have a
goal.
lot of trouble with this particular one.
I think everybody does because we all compare ourselves to other people.
And it's very easy to do so in this Instagram, Twitter age where like you're only seeing everybody's highlights. Like no,
basically, yeah, you're and they're making it seem accessible and attainable when most of the time, yeah, this is the highlight reel for everybody. So we're not seeing all the shitty moments.
Right. Like that would be the bummerest of bummers to see all the lowlights.
Like, yeah, if I had to take a selfie with like my ex-boyfriend when he dumped me and post it, like the people be like, okay, I have a better idea of where Reed's life actually is.
Which honestly, that is kind of on brand for you.
Like you're just like, why is Reed like crying
like
with laughter?
In my like the image that
now
I have
kind of thought, I wish I had thought of it.
Is you two standing together like, and you have like fucking tears, but you're still smiling. Like what an.
If I wanted to be within a mile of that person ever again in my life, I would maybe suggest it. But I think that's
oh no.
For once, Reed knows when an idea is bad.
No, I know. I'm not saying go back and like make that moment happen, but in the future, next time you wind up in that situation.
I mean, I kind of am like I said, a lot of my work is getting way, way more vulnerable because I kind of like, I know a lot of people are like, you can't like give way too much of yourself, but it's opened me up and it's made me more comfortable to like, well, what if I just talk about my life now and not like hide everything I'm embarrassed or ashamed of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So live life to the fullest, folks.
Live life to the fullest in whatever that means for you.
And and that you're not forgetting to take care of yourself at the same time. Because that's also living life to the fullest. Is when you are self-actualizing and feeling healthy.
So is that actually more of a Hufflepuff?
I could I would say that would cement it as a Gryffindor for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair, valid. Learn a new skill or hobby. Number 4.
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw, yeah.
Yeah, like especially since the fact like just need to be smarter in general. I will know another thing. I will be able to do another thing.
What is the skill that if you're like, I'm going to take a class to learn this?
Pole dancing.
Pole dancing.
Well, because I did a handstand the other day. I'm not sure if you heard about it. It was kind of in the news.
I did. You haven't
you
shut
can
up
check out my
about it.
Instagram if you want.
It's going to be 2 episodes in a row where you both mention that you're an Aries and that you did a handstand.
If you take, first of all, anything under the umbrella of sex work gets like stigmatized too much. If you just look at what pole dancers have to do with their bodies, it's a kind of acrobatics.
Oh yeah.
While also injecting like if it's the kind of dance you're doing, like sensuality into it and like having to be super aware of everything around you.
Yeah, you're like pole dancers and aerialists are like working their core beyond.
Those are the kind of things that I'd like to do. I want to get myself one of them dancer bodies.
Gotcha.
But like I don't know, I'm kind of like the size of like a European acrobat, like a tiny guy, and my upper body strength's getting better. So I feel like I could probably pull it off. What about you? What's a class or a thing that you'd want to learn?
I have been watching Great British Baking Show all of 2018.
So you would just like to take a baking class?
I want to become better at cooking and baking in general. And it's something that like I do actually take a fair amount of pride in when
You cook. Michael can cook. You've made me like pasta and sandwiches and stuff. I'm always like, okay,
I can, and it's like
this boy should be married.
But there's just like a handful of recipes that I feel comfortable with. Like I can make some very, very good chili, but like chili's just like dump all these things into a pot and like correctly get the levels. Like I want to be
cooking where you're constantly just kind of having to be busy a little bit because it feels the closest to what I imagine meditating is like, because I'm too fidgety for meditation.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But when you're like, okay, now that that's in the oven, I have to go and check on this sauce and maybe start chopping these vegetables. You're just very task oriented, and that is very good for people like me, who need something to ground them.
As far as like the meditation thing goes, I've found the easiest way to meditate is either in like focusing on like a single corner while like there's some like white noise of sorts.
Yeah.
But also I find swimming is like pretty meditative.
Yeah, no,
for me
I've been just in my room because I have a lot of space in my studio because I have a tiny bed. I do dance and I just like make myself like not worry about anything for like at least 5 minutes a day, and that's been helping a lot with my mood and like being able to get up and stay awake in the morning. Yeah, God knows I need that help.
So learning a new skill or hobby, it's a Ravenclaw. I agree with you.
Next
one is get organized. Ravenclaw.
Most of these are probably going to be Ravenclaws.
We've had some Gryffindors.
But anything that involves a label maker is definitely going to be a Ravenclaw.
Right.
What's the next one?
Lose weight.
This one's tricky because I very much I'll go ahead and put the thing at the beginning. I think people worry too much just about losing and not just being like, this is my optimum self.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say fuck that. That's a Slytherin way to pose the idea of just like, how can I be my healthiest self? That's my argument for that being a Slytherin.
Right. Well, and then number 1 is exercise more.
See, why would they have those? I guess it is by like the Family Feud poll.
Well, and I'm just going like, I actually kind of like those two being in a different place.
I think they should just be combined because exercise more, like that can also be something you can overdo. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that angle.
I think exercise more, I view exercise more through the lens of that means like gaining muscle mass.
Yeah, I like literally all I'm thinking is, if you feel like you can go into the doctors, get a clean whistle of health, that's not a thing. That's not a term. Clean bill of health.
Clean bill of health.
Clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for at least knowing, like.
Oh no, I saw exactly
Michael
how you
at
wound
this
up
point
on 2
kind
train
of
tracks.
speaks a separate dialect of English that is just read.
It's fine. I was right there with you.
It was like that was like Cockney or something.
I was in the sidecar.
Which sounds like a readism. All right. I just think we just focus too much on the like trying to become physically more attractive. That's what it comes down to for a lot of people, and that's it.
I think both lose weight and exercise more are Slytherins in nature. I think they are largely Slytherins, but they have the ability to be Ravenclaws if you are smart and thoughtful about it.
And we have to go back to think the reason why I would say it's a Slytherin in just the more true sense is because Slytherins aren't necessarily bad or evil. They are just always goal oriented, and they are focused on number 1 when it comes down to it. And those are 2 very personal things.
That's true.
And it can be something that you can get a complicated relationship with very quickly.
Right.
So that's why I put it as a Slytherin.
Yeah. I agree. Like when you articulate it like that, I'm 100% on board.
I was smart for the first time during the episode.
Nah, you were smart before. Don't put yourself down. This year, don't put yourself down so much,
baby.
Reed.
I'll live my life to the fullest.
Yeah, live your life to the fullest. Number 5. So, I mean, we've sorted these accordingly, I feel, pretty comfortably and confidently.
Yeah.
If you have...
Wait, that was all of them?
Yeah, that was all of them. We did it.
Oh, the number 1 was just be hotter. America, world, come on.
Well, if you have a resolution that has not been sorted, you can tweet at either of us. You can tweet at Reed at that dang dingus.
Listen,
you can
if you just want to make it that you see me do the handstand finally, give in. You're not going to seem uncool because everyone's like, it's an oversaturation of the meme at this point.
You can tweet at me at Belated Media. You can follow us collectively at sortinghat_pod to help in sorting and keep up to date on all things podcasting.
Yeah. And otherwise, we're very excited to be back, and we'll be back the week after next.
Yes. So get ready to listen to more of the Sorting Hat podcast. Bye, all.
Bye. Happy New Year.